Alright, today we continue our practice of solving quadratic equations by factoring. What is the first step of factoring, class? GCF is what I hope you said, greatest common factor. So looking at problem number 1, the first thing to do is to be aware that there is a common factor. I'm going to zoom in crazy big. There's a common factor here, and it is x. So if I factor out that common factor by putting an x and then the parentheses, alright, inside the parentheses, okay, obviously I'm dividing by the GCF, that's going to leave x minus 4. That's as far as that will factor. If this were squared, I would go x plus 2, x minus 2. But it's not squared anymore, it's just x. So now it's time to use my zero product property. So please understand that I have two factors here. Okay, in fact I'll split it like this. On the one hand, we have x. X equals 0. And on the other hand, we have x minus 4 equals 0. This is one of the answers. But adding 4 to both sides, I get that x can also equal 4. Okay, so the two solutions are 0 and 4. Looking at number 2, again, the first step of factoring is to bring out the greatest common factor. I see 8 goes into both of these, and there's the x right here, so I'm going to factor out 8x and then see what's left behind. So if I divide everything by 8x, alright, that's just going to give me x minus 4. Okay, again, we use our zero product property, so either 8x will equal 0 or x minus 4 will equal 0. Okay, on this side, dividing by 8 is what's happening. Over here we're adding 4 to both sides. So this is going to give me x equals 0. And over here I get x equals 4. So these are the two possible solutions, 0 and 4. Okay, looking at number 3. Now, in order to use the zero product property, we really have to have 0 on one side. Okay, like on number 2, we have this polynomial equals 0. On number 1, we had this expression equals 0. Alright, that's what allows us to set the two factors equal to 0. Okay, so we have to do that. And we can move this by adding 72x to both sides. Okay, that way we will now have 0 on the right hand side. Okay, over here I can't really put these together, so I just write 9x squared plus 72x. Now I'm going to look for a GCF to factor out. And I see that 9 goes into 72, and so does x. So if I factor that out, that's going to be, if I pull out 9x as my GCF, okay, then I'm going to divide everything by 9x to see what's going to go on the inside here, and that's going to give me x plus 8. Alright, so zero product property time. So according to the zero product property, 9x can equal 0, or x plus 8 could equal 0. Alright, if I divide both sides by 9, and here if I subtract 8. So that's going to give me x equals 0, and this is going to give me x equals -8. So that's 0, and that's -8. Okay, let's see. So that was number 3. All right, looking at number 4. There's no common factor. I already have 0 on one side, so I can go ahead and factor this. This is the difference of two perfect squares. So I can put x plus 4 and x minus 4. And then I can go ahead and do my zero product property. So x plus 4 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0. So that'll give me x equals -4, and this will give me x equals +4. Okay, so we have 4 and -4. All right, let's take a look at number 5. All right, well, that's basically the same thing all over again. Almost the identical problem. So this is going to factor as x plus 7, x minus 7. Okay, so sprinkle a little zero product property on it. So I have x plus 7 equals 0, x minus 7 equals 0. Okay, subtract 7, add 7, and I get x equals -7, x equals +7. Alright, take a look at number 6. No GCF, we already have 0 on one side. So let's go ahead and start the factoring process. X squared can only be x times x. 4 is either going to be 2 times 2, or it'll be 4 times 1. Alright, my money is on 2 times 2. Inner, we have 2x. Outer, we have 2x. We're trying to get -4x. Alright, this will work out if I do -2 and -2, that will make -4. So that would be -2 and -2. Does -2 times -2 make +4? Sure, a negative times a negative is a positive. So that is how you factor it. And then let's do the zero product property. All right, I'm just going to put this in a little bubble. So I'm just going to do my zero product property on both sides here. So that's going to give me x minus 2 equals 0. Oh, you know, it just would be the same thing twice. You know, it would be silly to solve it twice because I'm just going to get the same answer. So add 2 to both sides to get x equals 2. So there is only going to be one answer. And please don't write it twice because that shows that you don't know what you're actually doing. Okay. Number 7, same thing. We can immediately go to the binomial times a binomial. X squared can only be x times x. 9 is either going to be 3 times 3, or it could be 1 times 9. My money is on 3 times 3. Okay, inner we have 3x. Outer we have 3x. We're trying to get positive 6x. Okay, we can make that happen if both of these just stay positive. That'll make positive 6x. So plus plus. Positive times positive is a positive, so that works out as well. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do our zero product property. Again, there's no point in doing it twice because it's the same thing on both sides. So we will just do x plus 3 equals 0. So that gives us x equals negative 3. That is the only answer. Please do not write it twice. It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. Now, this one does not have 0 on one side, so we need to fix that. We can fix that by, adding 49 to both sides. Okay. So that's going to give us x squared minus 14x plus 49 equals 0. And from there we can go ahead and factor as usual. X squared is only x times x. 49 is most likely 7 times 7. Okay? Inner we have 7x. Outer we have another 7x. We're trying to get negative 14x. That will happen if both of these are negative. So that would make like this. Does that make a positive 49? Sure, negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, I'm just going to put a little box around this. And again, I'm only going to do this once because they're both the same. So x minus 7 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides, that gives us x equals 7. Just write it once. Don't write 7 and then another 7. Okay, whoa, I lost myself. Okay, no GCF. So let's go ahead and do our factoring thing. Two x squared can only be 2x and x. 3 can only be 3 and 1. Alright? It matters whether or not it's 1 and 3 or whether or not it's 3 and 1. I'll just start off with 1 and 3. Now, inner, I have 1x. Outer, I have 6x. I'm trying to get a middle of positive 5x. Now, I could make this happen if I did a positive 6 and a negative 1. But that would make this negative and this positive. Now, would that give me positive 3? Well, no, because a negative times a positive is a negative. So this was looking good, but it didn't actually work out. So the only other thing I can try is reversing the 1 and the 3. So let's go 3, 1 instead. So now inner I have 3x. Outer I have 2x. Okay, again I can make 5. But this time I would need both of these to be positive to make that happen. Okay, so that makes all these positive, and that would make positive 3. So this is the correct factorization, and now we can do the zero product property. Okay, so zero product property, 2x plus 3 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, that's one of my answers. And that is the other. Okay, so that's number 9. Let's see what other trouble we can get into. Okay, number 10. No GCF. We already have 0 on one side. So let's go ahead and factor this. (3x squared). It's going to be 3x and x. That's the only way. 2 is only 2 times 1. Alright, I'm going to start off with 1 times 2. If that doesn't work, I'll reverse it. Inner, I have 1x. Outer, I have 6x. I'm trying to get a positive 5x. I can make that happen if the signs are minus and plus. Okay, that would make this minus and this plus. Will that give me negative 2? Alright, look at the sign. Yeah, negative times a positive is a negative, so this is in fact the answer. You know, it's the correct factorization. I shouldn't say it's the answer because we're not finished yet. Because this is a solved problem, you know, notice it's an equation. We have to go ahead and do the zero product property. So 3x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Add 1. Subtract 2. Okay, 3x equals 1. X equals negative 2. That's one of the answers. This is the other. Okay, so it's 1/3 and negative 2. Alright, let's take a look at number 11. Alright, we're back to this again. So back to super easy. Alright, that's fine. This will just immediately factor as x plus 9, x minus 9, difference of 2 squares. Oh, why did I say same? I blanked out for a second there. Alright, x plus 9, x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, so and here I'm going to be adding 9. So that's going to give me x equals negative 9 and x equals positive 9. Alright, what else we got? Alright, this time we don't have 0 over here, so we need to move this over there. And we can do that by subtracting 15 from both sides. So that will give me 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. If we go ahead and factor this, 2x squared is just 2x and x. 15 is either going to be 3 times 5 or 1 times 15. Alright, let's just try 3 times 5 first. Inner, we have 3x. Outer, we have 10x. We're trying to get 7x, positive 7. We can do that if we pick the signs right. If we have a positive 10 and a negative 3, that would make 7. Okay, so here's my negative 3, and this positive 5 would make the 10. Does that give me negative 15? Sure, negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. So this is factored correctly. So now we'll just use the zero product property. Okay, so add 3, subtract 5, 2x equals 3, x equals -5. Well, that's one of the answers. Divide both sides by 2. So it's 3 over 2 and -5. Okay, what else we got? All right, 3 more problems. Okay, no GCF. 0 is already on one side. How hard can it be? All right, 2x squared, that's 2x and x. 3, all right, I'll start with 1 times 3. If that doesn't work, I'll reverse it. Inner, I've got 1x. Outer, I've got 6x. I'm trying to make positive 5. This could happen if I had a -1 and a positive 6. So there's my -1 and there's my positive 6. Does that give me -3? Sure, a negative times a positive is a negative. So this is factored correctly now. Okay, so zero product property. Okay, so add 1, subtract 3, so that gives me 2x is equal to 1, x is equal to -3. This is one of the answers. Divide by 2. All right, so 1/2 and -3. Alright, notice this is not an ordered pair. This is not an x and a y. These are both x's. So I'm not putting them in parentheses. It's just a list. Okay, 2 more problems. This time we don't have 0. So we need to move that over by adding 17x. So now I have 6x squared plus 17x plus 5 is equal to 0. Time to factor. 6x squared, 6 is either going to be 2 times 3 or 1 times 6. Of course, 5 can only be 1 times 5. So I'm going to start with the 2 times 3 option. So 2x and 3x. I'll start with 1 and 5 in that order. If this doesn't work, I will try 5 and 1. Inner, I have 3x. Outer, I have 10. I'm trying to get positive 17. Is there any way to get 17 out of 10 and 3? Nah. Okay, that means this is not going to work in that order. So before I give up on the 2, 3, I will try simply reversing the 1 and 5. Try doing 5 and 1 instead. In this shape, inner, I have 15x. Outer, I have 2. This is looking promising. I could make 17 out of these if they were both positive. That would mean these would have to both be positive. Would that make positive 5? Yep. Positive 5 times positive 1 is positive 5. So this is the correct factorization. Okay, now we'll just do the zero product property. Subtract 5 and 1. I've got 2x equals negative 5. 3x equals negative 1. Time to divide. Whoops, I got carried away. Okay, so that is going to give me x equals negative 5 over 2. And x equals negative 1/3. Okay. Alright, that's how you do that. Last one. Which is good because I'm about to fall asleep and I'm losing my voice. I keep thinking I'm falling asleep like in the middle of a problem. Alright, have there been any silences that are like 30 seconds or more that I just didn't notice because I was asleep? So that's my fear. Let's go ahead and subtract this 24 from both sides. So that is going to give me 2x squared plus 13x minus 24 equals 0. Alright, no GCF, so let's get to it. Alright. Obviously 2 can only be 1 times 2. 24 has a bunch of options. Alright, it's either going to be 4 times 6 or 3 times 8 or 2 times 12 or 1 times 24. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So 2x squared, it's 2x and x. Okay. Normally I would start with 4 times 6, but I know that that is not going to be the answer because say if I put 4 and 6, that would create a common factor here. If there's no common factor in the original problem, there should be no common factor in the parentheses. So that won't work. And usually I would try switching these around, doing 6 and 4. Same problem though. Alright, common factor. So without even doing anything else, I know that 4 times 6 is not the solution. So I'm going to move up my list and look at 3 times 8. I can do it, but I'll have to be careful to put my 3 here and my 8 here. If I did 8 times 3, then the 8 would again cause a common factor. Now, so let's keep going. So inner, I've got 3x. Outer, I've got 16x. Okay, I'm trying to get positive 13x. I can get this if the 3x is negative and the 16 is positive. That would make 13. So there's my negative for the negative 3x, and here's my positive for the positive 16. Alright, does that make negative 24? Yep, negative times a positive is negative. So we have factored it correctly. Now, doing the zero product property gives me, let's see, 2x minus 3 equals 0, and x plus 8 equals 0. Okay, so far that is one of my answers. And on this one I have to do one more step. Okay, so 3/2 and -8. Alright, so all in all, this assignment was pretty basic, nothing really fancy. So I'm hoping you found this really, really easy to understand. And I will see you on the next video. Hopefully I'll get some more sleep between now and then, and my voice won't be so bad. Peace.